Good morning and welcome to the 2018 Para and Senior World Championship Trials 2. This is the last and final opportunity for 30 athletes to be named to the 2018 national team for a trip to Bulgaria and compete at the 2018 World Championships.
This race is going to be interesting just because you've got two lightweights in here, one of whom won his semifinal. And I've I've followed Tyler Nace on Twitter for a long time. So way back in the day, I don't remember. Maybe it was, I guess, the 2012 cycle. He was very active on Twitter at the time, and so I was highly entertained. It's great to see him back, and I wonder how this is going to shake out.
Tyler Naze is one of my favorite athletes. He is the hardest working athlete I've seen out there. Fought his way into the light men's four at the 2016 Olympic Games. Just a solid all-around athlete, one of the hardest workers you'll see out there. For him to come out and be competing as an open weight, heavyweight single is impressive in its own right. He hasn't even spent a lot of time in the singles. So, after winning his semifinal, he said, I came out to get some racing in and have fun and see what happens. So I think he's coming into this with a fresh, good attitude. A couple other, as you mentioned, another athlete is a lightweight, Matthew O'Leary, who's been around and done great things. Other athletes in this race, you have Leonard, who's known as Lenny Futterman from Malta Boat Club, and Kevin Meador from Riverside Boat Club. This should also be a tight final, looking for some good racing. These boats to push each other all the way down the line.
And so Kevin dominated the time trial, and so it'll be interesting to see whether the other athletes were sort of being strategic in laying off a little bit early on. But obviously here we get some pretty tight racing early, which is encouraging to see. And you're talking about Tyler as a lightweight. With the changes in the Olympic program, the athletes who were training in the fours, the lightweight athletes, that event's no longer there, right? So their only route to the Olympic team is via sculling. So I think it's pretty cool. I also just admire the boldness of, hey, you know what, I'm gonna jump into the heavyweight single and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and he's come out fast. So looking at we're following alongside the men's singles here. In the yellow boat on the outside lane with bow card 4, that's Matt O'Leary. Bow card number 3, that's Lenny Futterman. Bow card number 2, and in that black boat, the darker boat of the field, that's Tyler Nace. And just here in the foreground, bow card number 1 is Kevin Meador. So these three boats, you'll see 3, 2, 1, are all well within contact, with Matt O'Leary falling just a little bit off the pack, but still an opportunity just a length off.
And this is a long race, right? I mean,
yeah,
the
plenty
single,
of time.
it's a total body workout in rowing. And even when you go to the World Championships or the Olympics and you watch the athletes in the single, it's almost like a different sport. I mean, they're so much bigger than everybody else, and they're just watching them. Like watching the final in Rio was insane because those two guys went down to the very last stroke, and I mean, watching them, like, they basically had to be pulled out of their boats onto the dock, and then they laid there and, like, rolled around for about 10 minutes before they could actually get up and get their medals.
That was an incredible race. He's talking about Demir Martin and Mahe Drysdale, which Drysdale ended up winning the race, but it was one of those where you almost wish both of them could have received the gold medal for such a tight, incredible back and forth. We see the field kind of spreading out a little bit, but again, the vantage point can give you a little bit of deception about what's actually happening. But you do see it does look like Kevin Meador has pulled out in front, with Leonard Futterman just in second, and Tyler Nace still staying well within contact as we're coming into this. They're crossing the 1,000-meter line right here. So second half of the race, this is when it's really hurting. This is when the burn is setting in. This is when this third 500, you start seeing the field separate a bit, but you want to make your move, put your bow card out in front so that you're leading coming into this last 500 meters.
And this is extremely tight for a single. I mean, for a long time, I think there was not a lot of competition in the U.S. in this event, or at least it wasn't. It wasn't tight like this. It was pretty spread out. There was always somebody who was just a lot better than everybody else. But so to see this, well into the third 500, Kevin here, looking smooth, looking super relaxed. He's starting to maybe inch away a little bit, but yeah, you can see Lenny there taking a look around and just hauling on it. When you have conditions like this, this really turns into a pulling contest, which is, the single is the ultimate arbiter of of that as far as the events that we have.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of different styles in the single. People, the thing with the single is that you're by yourself, right? And so it's whatever, there's a general template, if you will, for technique, but it is whatever works for you. And you see Tyler Nace, he's taken the rate up to stay in contact, just trying everything he can to stay with the leaders here, Kevin and Leonard Futterman. Meador is still, he's still got his bow ball out, poking out, getting, trying to move ahead inch by inch just to create a little bit more space. But you see Futterman moving back into it. He's taking the rate up as well, looking over across his shoulder to see, how close am I? And he's pushing his boat into Meador's boat. We're coming into the last 500 meters here in just a little bit, 600 meters to go. Here we go. Now we're going to see the singles really pressing into it. These athletes are, again, they're hurting, but again, everything is on the line. This is their opportunity to make the team.
It's a good point you make about the different styles. If you look at Kevin Meador, he rows a very upright style, and if you notice, his boat doesn't sort of rock back and forth too much versus, say, what Lenny Futterman's doing, who really throws his back into it, and you can see at the very finish of the stroke there, that sort of bouncing. But they're going for it now.
Yeah. Matt O'Leary has fallen off the field, but if I understand correctly, he was injured earlier in the year, and this was sort of coming back into training. An incredible athlete in his own right, so to be in this top four after an injury and kind of having to take some time off is quite an accomplishment in itself. These top three athletes have been training all summer, pushing to make this spot on the team. So for him to stay, to be amongst the top here is an accomplishment in itself. All right, we're seeing the red buoys coming in. The last 250 meters of the race, less than a minute to go.
And I think the angle here is deceptive. I think Lenny Futterman's still in this, but Kevin's starting to push now, and it's impressive to see Tyler. I always sort of love watching like the underdog get in there and stay in there, and he's definitely not giving up. But looks like Kevin is now sneaking out just a little bit, and again, very smooth, that kind of upright style. Still getting his catches in. That's one thing that you do see in these tight races. The technique can get pretty wild in the last 20 or 30 strokes as people just throw everything at it.
Yeah, you see him kicking the rate up these last 100 meters, just trying everything they can to take it down the line. Futterman and Meador are still well within contact, pushing each other. Meador looks like he's going to take this. I believe this will be his first senior team, and he'll cross the line just about a half a length ahead of Futterman. Tyler Nace sprinting all the way through the line will take third, and a few seats behind him, Matt O'Leary will take fourth. So your 2018 men's single has been named. Kevin Meador from Riverside Boat Club. Like I said, I think this is his first national team, so a great accomplishment for him. Yeah, and this is where, for all of you listening or joining in, again, 2018 Senior and Para Trials 2. This is the second of two trials. We had the earlier trials where several athletes were named in early July to the team. This is the final opportunity, and over 30 athletes will be named to the team for the senior and para teams. And, just another hour and a half after racing concludes this morning for the 2018 World Championships in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, coming up in September.